I'm back. For me, it's like 5 minutes later since the last pod. For you guys, it's like a few days, but either way, we are here. And you know what's funny is I was taking a break in between recording episodes because, like, sometimes it actually should be way more challenging to sit here for like an hour and a half to 2 hours and talk to myself, but it frighteningly, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Scarily, it's not hard. That is what I'm trying to say. It is not hard, and it probably should be. But here we are, and you know what I was thinking as I was taking my break in between episodes is, like, my hair, it looks really good. Now, I've done some touch-ups to it, but it looks really good. Why does it sound like there's fireworks happening? I'm so confused, but either way, my hair looks so good. But why is it when I do a blowout and also curl it just like Drybar does, it's a frizzy freaking mess? Like, I don't think they use any more or different products than I use. Like, truly, is it that my technique just sucks, or what is it? Because right now it's staying smooth, it's staying good, it's like whatever. But if I do it, it literally is frizzy. And you know what's annoying is, like, I could say, like, oh, well, the last couple of times that I've done it, because I'll do it and leave it for, like, ideally a week. But I could say, like, oh, well, the last couple of times that I did it, then it's been rainy, and so the humidity has caused it to frizz. But no, I got this done as it was raining, and then the next day it also rained. So if it was going to frizz, it was going to frizz, and it didn't. So I need to know what, I mean, I don't know why I'm like saying it because I have a Drybar membership, but also that's like for 2 like blowouts a month, and I can pay extra for more, but also I want to know why I can't do it and why I can't replicate it. And it's irritating, but it's also nice, I guess, when I do get it and my hair looks good. So there is that. I also probably really need to get it like trimmed. Like, I feel like I'm at that point, but I don't know, even it's like, I don't really use that much heat on it. Actually, the ends are looking pretty good, but it is crazy. Actually, I think I talked about this already. How I had like a quarter life or whatever crisis and made my husband chop all my hair off, and then it was uneven and I had to like get it evened out and stuff. But either way, in 2023, it was this short, like literally above my shoulders. So I feel like the fact that it's like almost down to my hip is pretty impressive because it's never grown like this before. And also, I love that it's like truly all my natural hair in color. And I would like to tell the universe I'm happy with my hair and my hair color. So if we could just please, like, leave it like this without the grays, because also, you know, I think I should be able to go longer before I start getting gray hair. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I have like a little patch, like a little strip, just a little strip back here. It's not on the very top of my hair, but it's like right, like if I were to like, you know, have like side part here, like you're going to see it. But either way, it's like a little strip of like gray white hair just right here. And it's a birthmark because I remember one time my mom was doing my hair as a child and like freaked out because I had this little patch of hair. And I think I very first went to like my hairdresser at the time, and she was like, I think it's just a birthmark because if you look at my actual scalp, like that portion of my scalp is also like discolored. But then I'm pretty sure that my mom like confirmed with like my primary care doctor, and it's like it's a birthmark, because it doesn't even like, it'll die, but then it won't hold it. It'll basically just like wash out. So everything else, like if I wanted to dye my hair, will be dyed, and that will just like go away. But I just think that because I've had to deal with like a strip of like gray or white hair since I was a child, should like prolong my years of like actually going gray, because explaining that as like a middle schooler in the height of bullying season / years, yeah, I think I should get a little bit longer. But that is that on my hair saga. And I really want a facial, and I really want a massage, and those are two things that I wish would happen like yesterday. So basically, with the company that I work for, every summer they will do a like company event for leasing, maintenance, and then assistant managers and community managers. And for the first year I had missed whatever it was, but then the second year was bowling, so I don't know what it was the first year. I like just like barely missed it, but then the second year was bowling, so I did that. Then the third year was a baseball game, and this year is also the same thing, a baseball game. So this Thursday is a Rangers game for the assistant managers and community managers. I always want to call it Wranglers, and it's not that, it's Rangers. So let me get my baseball facts right. But last year that I went, it was super, super lame because, well, one, I'm actually surprised that assistant managers and managers are going first, because last year, and normally I believe leasing goes first, then assistant and community managers, and then maintenance, because usually they kind of try and like hold out, like maintenance last year went in like September, because during the peak of summer it's usually AC problem after AC problem. So luckily they think that part through. But this year assistant and community managers are first, and so that is not tomorrow but Thursday. And last year sucked because my only basically person that I would want to go with assistant manager or manager wise was out on sabbatical. So essentially, like, our company, like, after you've worked there for 10 years, you get a 6-week paid sabbatical, and then it's like every 5 years after that. And poor thing finally got her first sabbatical after 30 years, because obviously that wasn't like necessarily a thing to begin with. And then once they did do the sabbaticals, like you couldn't, like, you had to wait for your next like 10-year mark. So there was like so many people going on sabbatical before she did, and then like once she finally got hers, she'd literally been with the company for 30 years. But because she was on hers during the event, she couldn't go to the event. Like, you literally couldn't have like anything to do with work while you're on your sabbatical. So that sucked for me. But I went with my old assistant manager at the property I used to work with, but she's like not the type that like really wants to do stuff like that. Like, it's like if she's gonna do that, like, she'd rather just like go home, which I get. But also it's like, for me, I live and work at the same place, so if I'm like not gonna go to an event, I feel like I need to be at work, because being at home is also being at work in a sense, even though I like go downstairs to do it. But for her, going home is going home. So I'm telling you, we met at the place. It took 5 years to park, because which thank goodness we got complimentary parking passes, but to find the specific lot that we were in took so long. Surprisingly, I got there and found it first, which I couldn't believe, because normally I'm like so directionally challenged, it would be the other way around. So I got there first, but then, and what's funny is I'm just realizing by the time this episode comes out, I'll have already gone to the baseball game. But so we got there, we parked, we went in. I thought we agreed we were like eating beforehand because we didn't want to eat like the food there, but whatever. I guess that was not the case. So we got there, we got upstairs. Luckily, we were in like a place though where it was like a more, so it wasn't like a like enclosed type of suite, but it was like we definitely had like an area with like food and all of the things. So she didn't eat. So she like got a plate, she ate, and then literally after that she's like, "Okay, like are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Okay, truly if I knew though it was going to be like this, the time to like drive down here, find the parking lot. Like we spent more time driving and finding the parking lot than we freaking did at the game." So that was kind of annoying. So this time I'm happy because the manager I want to go with is not on sabbatical and she is going. So we're going to that on Thursday. And honestly, I'm not really one to watch sports, but I probably have talked about this before. Like, I'm not one to like sit down and watch sports, but also if sports are on and I sit down and do watch it, like I know what's going on. Okay, not for every damn sport, let's be real. But like if you're putting on like football or basketball, like one of, like the kind of more mainstream like sports to watch. Like I know what's going on and I can super get into it and like watch it and whatever. Like I can be entertained. But like baseball to like watch on TV, hell to the no. For me, I'd rather go to the game for like the experience of it. But I also like don't like if I never went to like a baseball game again, I wouldn't also be upset. With that being said, I will say that like being in person at a baseball game like is a little more like near and dear to my heart because I remember when I don't know how old I was, probably like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade ish. Like I said before, probably many previous times, but my dad and my stepmom are in Ohio, and so I used to fly as an unaccompanied minor to visit them like during breaks and stuff. And there was one summer that I went out and my dad and my uncle took me and my cousin to a Reds game. So if you are a baseball fan, I would definitely say, even though I grew up in Colorado, Cincinnati Reds are my number one team because I had the best experience there. So sorry, not sorry, but yeah, they took us to a Cincinnati Reds game, and I like honestly kind of don't know like how they swung it, just because it's not like we had a lot of money at all, but like I remember we ended up getting to like basically go and like eat and watch this game, and like it wasn't like a suite. Let me just preface, it's not like it was a suite, but it was like a restaurant that like you could eat at and also watch the game, but we were like at a table that was like right by the window, so we basically like watched. I mean, I couldn't tell you one single fucking thing that happened in the game, but we got to like eat and like watch the game from this like restaurant that was all high up, which was super fun. We also got visors, which I feel like they're kind of coming back, but like at the time visors were so fucking cool, and I got like a red Cincinnati Reds, yeah, visor. And then they won, which was so much more fun. And we got those little like spinny things that like would like twirl and light up and stuff. And then all on the way out, everyone's all in a good mood because like the team won and everything. And it was just like such a fun experience that I still remember. So, and also like my dad played baseball and I guess was going to go to the minor leagues until he like freaking cut his hand with a chainsaw. So, okay, both my mom and my dad, like literally not married, haven't been married in, God, how old am I? Like 28 or so years, but they will still literally both listen to the podcast and text me and be like, so that was wrong. So you guys can tell me if I am wrong, but from what I remember and recall from stories, my dad was up to go to the minor leagues and then cut his hand with a chainsaw and therefore could not, because obviously you need your hand, and there we go. But I did then try later on to follow in his footsteps and play softball, And that was very short-lived. After the softball hit my shin and my shin swelled up, and I called my mom to come and bring me home, and I never actually made it to a game. I made it through like 2 weeks of practice and hated every single second of it. So sorry, Dad, and sorry, Mom, that you spent so much money on pink softball gear that never saw the light of day of a game. Anyway, I will be doing that on Thursday, and truly the only thing in my mind is what I'm going to wear. And I think that is okay. I really, really, really wanted to get this like Betsy Johnson purse that looks like a baseball basically, and they were sold out by the time that I went to order it, so that is a bummer. I also wanted to order one of the like color block t-shirts where it's like black sleeves and then like white torso, but I can't find a short sleeve version that's not like a cropped shirt, and I'm not wearing like a long or like 3/4 inch like sleeve shirt in the Texas summer heat. So I will be wearing a black t-shirt, jeans, and then my thought is my Aloe baseball cap and my Aloe sneakers. But once I put it on Thursday, we will see if that's still the vibe. And I don't even know why I'm like thinking about it that deep, because I don't even know how long I'm going to be at this damn game. And I hope the food is better than last year, because last year it looked gross. So there is that, but also maybe we just like showed up too late. But I mean, I can't remember if they served us or not, because I'm telling you, if it's like a buffet type of situation where everyone is like talking and like, I mean, I guess even if you think about it, that's even like, oh my gosh, is this gonna ruin all food places for me? Because like what I hate about like, well, first of all, a potluck should be illegal, because if I don't know the cleanliness of someone's kitchen, like I can't eat your food. It doesn't matter if you brought something and it looks incredible. Like, do you have a cat and was it on your counter as you were like making said dish? Or like, have you wiped down your counters? Or did you even wash your hands? Do you use salt and pepper at the minimum? So a potluck, miss me with that. But now I'm thinking about it, because I was going to say like a buffet freaks me out, because like people are so gross, and so it's like to walk like through a line of food and you're like talking over it and like coughing over it and like doing all that. But now I'm thinking about it, it's like at like somewhere such as Chipotle or any place, they're probably like talking and spitting over all my food now. So I guess basically now I like can't eat anymore, which will, I guess, just no, it's not possible. Have to eat. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, like if this is like a I mean really I'm like about to finish this sentence, but it like negates what I also just said. Like I don't like when it's like something where you like serve yourself, because I don't like when people are like talking over it and everything. But also if the people who are serving it are doing that anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. But anyway, their burgers looked like what I would, last year their burgers looked like what I would get at my elementary school, like cafeteria lunch. And there is no, oh my gosh, you guys remember? Like we went from like cafeteria, like elementary food, where like the pizza was like square, but not in a good way. Like, you know how like when like places do like the little square pieces and they're so freaking good and you can eat like 20 pieces and you almost like, I feel like you didn't even really eat that much because it's not like a full slice, and you also can't remember that you just ate like 20 little mini pizzas, and so then you feel like, oh, I'm eating pizza, but I'm also like not a fat ass, even though like ideally I probably am. But no, it would be like the thick ass like square pizzas, and then you'd have like gross stuff. Like you'd get like the little like paper calendar that would go home with you, and your mom would like hang it on the fridge, and then it would be like Salisbury steak, or that like, what is a Salisbury steak? Can someone tell me what a Salisbury steak is? Because after elementary school I've never heard of a Salisbury steak ever again in my life. And I'm trying to think of what else, but it was like there was always like pizza and chicken nuggets and like then like sides and stuff, and you had to get milk. But then we went from like that to middle school where we literally could buy like Domino's pizza, like those like, oh my God, the cookies. Like Ava and I were just talking about this. Apparently she like had a hookup to the person with the cookies, but I guess they cost like a fortune, and so she was like debating doing it but didn't. But it was like the cookies that were like perfectly cooked where they were still like a little bit soft and like almost doughy in the middle, but not like a gross doughy, like a perfect doughy, but then on the outsides. And oh my God, I like truly remember going to school and getting like freaking a slice of pizza and like 2 cookies, or those like, okay, I don't know if this is like just my school, so sometimes I like say stuff and I'm like, should I say it or is that embarrassing? But we called them like Bosco sticks, but it was basically just like a breadstick with melted cheese inside, and it was like 2 sticks with marinara sauce. So it was like pizza or Bosco sticks, a calzone, but like that was always like too like much for me. I'm like, if I'm getting that, I'm just gonna get like the pizza. And there was like different like stations for it, or there was like just like the regular cafeteria if you wanted to do that. That was like cheaper and stuff, but like it really, if you like did that, you were not cool. But like how did we go from like elementary school where we had to do this and we had to get like at least 1 vegetable and at least 1 fruit and we had to get a milk carton and all this, to just like freaking Domino's pizza and 2 cookies and Bosco sticks and all this? And I don't know how I got here, but we're here. And also I need to stop doing this. So I will try and work on that along with my legs, which both have been egregious. Look at me bringing egregious back around. My mom will be so proud. You are still using the word wrong. Actually, I think I really, like, I feel like I can confidently say I was using it right in that context, but also, you know how like middle school is supposed to be the worst time in your life? When I think back to it, like middle school like was the worst time in so many aspects, but also it was like kind of fun at the same time. I feel like there was different years. Like it's almost as if like 7th grade, which I think is supposed to be actually the worst because it's the middle of your middle. Okay, well, I will say, I know every state or school or area is different, but for me, I went to elementary school like kindergarten through 5th grade, and then middle school 6th through 8th, and then high school 9th through 10th. So that's like what I did. But if I really think back, middle school was horrible, but I specifically remember 7th grade actually being super fun. First of all, I think 7th grade is when I stopped being like weird, which I was still probably weird, but I feel like I like came into myself like a little bit more. And also I specifically remember that my mom and I at the beginning of the year decorated okay, so at this point in time, I don't know if people still decorate their lockers, but when I was in school, it was like a really big deal, And we used wrapping paper, so everyone will have to tell me if they, like, okay, if you, everyone who's like in middle school is like, we're not fucking listening to your podcast, you geriatric millennial. But I actually don't think I'm a geriatric millennial because I'm the end of millennials, but I digress. So when God, this is like, why do I low-key want to go back to middle school? I don't want to go back to middle school, but also I didn't have to pay bills. So Mom, maybe I'll just come back, live at home, and go to middle school. Honestly, with like the troubles that you have in middle school versus the troubles you have today, I feel like I could survive. Anyway, I specifically remember I feel like cherries are like coming back around, but at the time, like cherries were super in, and my mom and I found this wrapping paper that was like a light pink with cherries on it, and that is what we decorated my locker in. Oh my gosh. And like it was so cool because even everyone was like, oh my gosh, your locker is so cool. And we were like decorating, and we're like, oh, thank you so much. And we're both like, yeah, we fucking know, like we're like the best. But then you could also like buy from like Walmart or Target, because Amazon was not a thing, like magnetic like pencil holders or a magnetic mirror or whatever. I'm sure, I don't know if everyone is still doing this, but at the time, whatever. And also, in middle school, we had our own lockers. In high school, I always shared a locker, but in middle school, we had our own. So mine was like really fucking cool. And it was on the corner, which is also really fucking cool. And so basically, I was already starting the year with like just being cool. And then I like became friends with like, honestly, I just feel like I met really good friends that year. I feel like I had like the appropriate amount of boy drama. I was like deep into dance. And then 8th grade kind of like fell apart a little bit. So I feel like maybe like the not last episode, but the episode before the last, I said that I feel like all of my problems would be solved with a spray tan. I feel like all of my problems would be solved if I found that freaking light pink with cherry wrapping paper on it again and like, I don't know, wrapped like my freaking desk or office or something in it. Like, I feel like this was like some good luck. Maybe I need to like find some on Amazon. Reminder, Victoria, to search some cherry wrapping paper. Not the wrapping paper. Actually, that's so funny I say that. So my nephew, okay, none of you get to repeat or say this, but actually, you know what, mother, let's just put you on blast. She's like, oh my fucking god, what the fuck now? So obviously my name's Victoria. I actually kind of got named backwards, her. So the story you told about your name and how you got named is wrong, but from what I remember from the stories is that my mom and my dad went to a wedding of someone. I don't know whose friend it was or whatever, but they went to the wedding of someone, and the groom and the groom's sister both grew up doing ballroom dance. And so at the wedding, they did like a ballroom dance, and the girl's name was Tori. So fast forward to my mom getting pregnant with little old me, not little old. Can we start saying like little young me? With little young me. And she was talking to my grandma, like my dad's mom. And I guess my grandma brought up like, oh, what about the name Victoria? And then my mom was like, oh my gosh, Tori Victoria. Which is so funny because when I did used to go by Tori, then whenever I would tell, like if someone would see that my name was Victoria and I'd be like, oh yeah, I go by Tori. And they'd be like so confused. I'm like, so it's literally in the center of the name, but it's fine. But say all that, I went by Tori growing up. And then in kindergarten, they did not get the memo that it was supposed to be Tori. And so when I showed up to my first day of school, all of my things were Victoria. And so I went by Victoria like at school. And then like, it's like I live like 2 different lives. It wasn't really that dramatic, but at school I was Victoria, and then at home I was Tori. And in like the 2nd grade, I think I told my mom like, will you call me Victoria? And she was like, I can barely get out Tori, so Victoria is too long. And I'm like, well, bitch, you gave me the name. Maybe I've already told the story. Honestly, I can't even remember. You know when you're like, I can't remember if I told you or not. So like if I've told you, like stop me, but like you guys can't really stop me until after like the episode's already out. And by that point it's too late. So this also just may be a podcast of like being that fucking person who's just always telling you what I've already told you. But if I have or haven't, she told me no. And again, where the fuck was I going with that? We were talking about 7th grade. We were talking about like literally flew the fuck out. Oh, I remember. See, you can't pull one on this ADHD bitch. So anyway, my family still calls me Tori because, you know, it's been 31 years now. So it's kind of hard to get them to change. Also, I haven't asked. So there's that. It's not like I've like asked and they're not like respecting that. It's just, it honestly feels kind of weird to ask for them to start calling me something different than they've always called me. And honestly, my husband has like never called me Tori. So it's either, well, he used to call me by my last name when we first met, but now obviously my last name and his last name are the same, which love. But so now he either just calls me Queen or wife, which Queen has been for quite some time. but wife obviously since middle of 2022. So I usually just get those. But growing up with my siblings on my dad's side, I was always sissy because my brother couldn't, like my brother right under me couldn't pronounce his T's. T was too hard. So like I was sissy, which I actually think that's like way more common than at the time I realized. And honestly, I love it. Like it's so funny because I feel like it's kind of like the equivalent of like a kid calling their like mom like mommy or daddy as a kid. Like if they want something, like if it's like a kid that's like really little and it's, you know, they're saying mom and dad at that point, but then they want something and they're like, oh, mommy, daddy. And then the parents are like, oh my gosh. Like I feel like my siblings like really pull that out if they're like, so we actually want something. So like sissy, and I'm like, fuck you guys. Yeah, you can have it. But it's funny because then like on my mom's side, like they've always just called me like Tori or Tor. And so then obviously like my nephew like knows me as Aunt Tori because, you know, that's like what my sister calls me. But you know how like so many times like kids can't say their R, so it'll be like Toey, like, or, you know, whatever the word is with an R. But like my brother, for example, on my dad's side, the one that's coming to visit me this week, he couldn't like pronounce his R's like that, and his name is Connor. And so whenever he would pronounce his name, it'd be like Connor Wushing. So like our last name, like my maiden name is Rushing, so it was always Wushing. But no, my nephew, no, he can say his R's, but it's almost like a pirate. So it's like when he says my name, it's like Tari. Like tar, like R, Tari. I'm like, okay, so we just really cannot get this right. We cannot, I feel like at this point, and you know what's funny is like, I actually, and maybe I need to like maybe I need to remind myself right here. I need to like do a whole separate podcast on this, but like at some point in time, because I mean, truly, like okay, so basically, I went by Victoria in school from kindergarten until 3rd grade. But like in dance or at home, I was Tori. And then in 4th grade, I remember, I think I finally was like, okay, I'm going to say like I go by Tori. So then like from 4th grade all the way through high school, I went by Tori for everyone. And then when I got to college, like it was just like, if you've fuck me. If you have been to college, you know that you're in this whole, like, and I didn't even go to a big school, but like you're in this like big classroom. So really when the professor's like reading down the name and being like, I'm going to call attendance, but like if there's like a different name you want to go by, let me know. Like by the time we're in the next class and the class after that and the class after that, they're not going to remember my nickname. So I just never like corrected anyone. But still, like I would obviously to friends and, you know, people I met, I would introduce myself as Tori. So my friends and everything still call me Tori. And then I got into the professional work field and I would go by Tori, but because like for my email, they would use my full government name, then I would email and I would like sign it like, oh, sincerely your best or whatever, like Tori. And then people would be like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was emailing Victoria. And that's when I'd be like, so are you freaking stupid? It's like, it's more in the name than if I were to say my name's Vicky, but okay. So that was like, it got to the point where I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just like going to go by Victoria. And then my husband and I moved to Arizona and I'm like, you know what? Like I need to identify, and I didn't do it like right away. Like we still lived there for a couple of years where like, if I just like met someone casually, like I would refer to myself as Tori. And then it got to the point where I was like, I don't even like resonate. And it's not that I like don't still like love Tori and like, you know, acknowledge like that person at the time, but I'm almost just got to the point where I didn't resonate with that to who I am now anymore. And I just feel like Victoria and Victoria only. So it was almost weird because like when I went home a couple weeks ago and like, I'm not going to be, it'd be so hard for me if like one of my siblings were like, well, I like only want to be called this now. And obviously I would do it. Like if someone said like, this is like what I'm going by now, you're going to do it. But also after 31 years, well, okay, they're younger than me, so they don't get that much time. But, you know, at the most 29 years of calling someone something and they can't talk to them. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. After your whole life of calling someone something and then you've got to like revert to something else, like it's just like a lot. And then I don't want people to like get in their heads, and you know, it doesn't make me feel any type of way. But on the other hand, it's like I don't almost like, it's almost like when you will see movies where people give the character like the wrong name, and then that character's calling them the name they gave them, and then they're not answering and that person's wondering why. Sometimes I almost feel like that with like when they'll say like Tori, because I'm like, okay, I don't like actually like resonate with this name anymore. But also it's like weird because I feel like if all of them were calling me Victoria, like would that also feel weird? I don't know. But either way, Mom, Victoria works. So thanks for the name. And also, my middle name is also a sleigh. And guess what? If you're listening, no, it's not Marie. And not that there's anything wrong with Marie, but I'm not the white girl that has the super common middle name of Marie. And my middle name actually is Slay. So that's that. It's Hope. And Victoria Hope, like you cannot tell me that Victoria Hope is not a slay fucking name. You guys in the comments, it's not a slay fucking name. Well, guess what? I think it's a slay fucking name. Isn't it actually like crazy? Like, okay, I'm not gonna say that like I am at the point in my life where, and I don't know if anyone's ever at the point in their life, but like I can't say like I'm at the point where if someone said something mean in the comments, I wouldn't be like, so that fucking hurt my feelings, thanks a lot. Like I probably would. It'd probably be like, so I thought about that probably longer than I should have. But also it is like nice when you get to a point where it's like, okay, so that was kind of like annoying that you said it, but also I don't believe it, and that's all that matters, because like I actually know like this, that, and the other to be true. Yeah, it is nice when you get to that point. Also, I have got to do laundry so fucking bad. It's not even funny. Like when I tell you it is not funny, I've got to fold laundry so bad. And I will say like there are certain things like, okay, if my husband, I like always say my husband, like I feel like it, okay, in the same way that like my husband does not say my first name, I feel like I also don't say his first name. So as much as it's weird to say like my husband to you guys, it's also weird to like just like call him by his first name, because we don't call each other by like our government names. But it's Chris, by the way, or Christopher. Maybe I'm just gonna be like Christopher, because honestly I love his name, but I really like don't call him that. So maybe I'm just gonna start calling him freaking Christopher on the pod, and my mom will be like, yes, I concur, Christopher it is. She loves a full, you know what's so funny is God, what's that? Maybe it's Gossip Girl, where like but I don't think it is. I mean, like she always like in Gossip Girl, Serena's mom would always say like Charles instead of Chuck, or Daniel instead of Dan. But like, is that the show where like people would say like, oh no, it's this, but they would like refuse to call him that? And I don't think it is. Like I think she just did that, but I don't think like Kelly Rutherford, I think she just did that as her character, but I don't think it was like, anyway, whatever. My mom, it's so funny. I'm like, my mom loves a full government name, and you're like, didn't you just say like 5 minutes ago that she wouldn't call you Victoria? Yes, but also she had 4 kids, and 2 of the 4 are twins, and girly could like, you know, she had to like keep all of us straight. So it's okay. But anyway, maybe I'm just gonna make Christopher a thing on the pod, and that's how it's gonna be. Again, where the fuck was I going with that? I was starting to say my husband. I actually really lost that train of thought. I really did. Oh, no. Laundry, cleaning, dishes. Okay. Oh my gosh. I like feel like I should like freaking put up, you know, when like why did I think of this example? You know, when like kids are potty training. Well, okay, mother, another traumatic childhood memory. She's like, oh my gosh, seriously, can you just like send me an invoice for counseling and like not put it on the podcast and keep it pushing? No, JK, I don't feel like I need to go to counseling for this. So I remember when my sister, I don't know why I'm like feeling the need to touch the wall. Calm down. When my sister, Nikki, was going through potty training, she got me, I don't know why I'm feeling the need to touch the wall. Me touches the wall. She got a chart. I am a Capricorn, bitch. I love a chart. I could have made the chart. Anyway, she got a chart, and whenever she went to the bathroom on the potty, she got a sticker. Why didn't I get a chart with a sticker? So I didn't know that this was going to turn into a traumatic whatever. Yes, I want a chart with a sticker. So I feel like whenever I recall something, like whenever we've like gone off on a tangent, if I like bring it back, I feel like I need a gold star or like a fun sticker. Anyway, already forgot. Fuck. Oh, see, another sticker. So basically there's like things with like me and my husband that like if he does it, I'm like, so I love you and I love you so much for doing it, but like please don't do it again because you didn't do it the way I would do it and I don't like that. And then like vice versa. So like 1, loading the dishwasher, 2, doing laundry for me because like my clothes, they're delicate. There's a process. They need to be hung, all the things. And also a dishwasher. Why do like people, specifically men, not like know how to logically load a dishwasher? I don't know, but here we are. And it's like the same way where like if I'm gonna put out the trash, I don't mean take out the trash, I just mean put it for valet trash right outside our door in an enclosed hallway. Like he gets mad, he wants to do it. No, I gets mad, but like he's like, no, I got the trash, that's like me, whatever. So I really need to do laundry. Like the laundry's like stacking up, but also I don't even know why I brought up like needing to do laundry because like 1, either you don't care, or 2, you're like, thanks bitch, because I have laundry to do too and I didn't want to be reminded of that. But I really want to try and have my laundry done before my homegirl Margarita comes this weekend to clean, or not this weekend, this Friday to clean, because last time she came, she was probably like, do you literally, okay, because like we had just traveled and then I had a really busy work week and our laundry was insane because normally I actually will do laundry like not like every day, or if it's not every day, it's like every like other day, but I try to like do a load and then I'm trying to like fold and hang like right out of like either like hang right out of the washer for the things that don't dry and then like dry and then like hang and fold at the same time, or it's like if there's not that to do, like I want, like there's like something going on with laundry like every morning. But after our trip to Colorado and everything, it's just been like I've been so discombobulated. So like when she came for the first time and like our like baskets were overflowing, she was probably like, so you guys are fucking disgusting, like do you even know how to use a washer and dryer? And I'm like, I very much do, queen, thank you. So I really need to do that this week. Tomorrow's gonna be Wednesday, which like seems like, oh okay, there's so much time. It feels like it's already over by Wednesday, but I will persevere. My goal is to just not make it look like we don't do laundry 2 weeks in a row. And I can't wait for Margarita to come. And you know what I love is I love that like Margarita came, my cute little cleaner, and that my husband is as excited about us having her as I am, because honestly, there is nothing better than spending money on something that you were like, is this too much? Is this too bougie? Is this too whatever? To then have like your partner, significant other, husband, wife, whatever, also agree that it was like the best thing, especially when it was your idea and you're like, so been telling you, but I've been the one like putting off the scheduling. So anyway, I really want to eat dinner, and tonight for me dinner is chips and queso, and I really want to eat chips and queso. So I am going to end this here because to eat chips on a mic would be diabolical, and I'm just not going to do that to you guys because I'm already giving you like the smacks and the likes and the filler words, so I'm not going to add in the crunch of chips. And also I'm supposed to wake up at 4:15 tomorrow, and it's 9, so we're going to leave it off at that, and cheers to that. Okay, bye.